Yes, recording.
Okay. Will everyone please stand? Heavenly Father, as we gather tonight, we ask that you bless this governing body with wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will provide the common good and general welfare for all of the people of Newton. Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Dixon?
Here.
Mr. Flynn?
Here.
Mr. Schlaffer? Mrs. Lafroy?
Here.
Mayor Diglio?
Here. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this regular meeting was given to the two newspapers of record and posted on the official bulletin board on January 2nd, 2020. At this time, I would like a motion to approve the minutes of December 23rd, 2019 regular meeting.
I'll offer the minutes from the December 23rd, 2019 regular meeting.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilwoman LaFleur and a second from Councilman Dixon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lafroy?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. Now we will have the swearing in of the Newton Fire Department 2020 officers. I think they should raise their right hand. Everyone, please raise your right hand. Okay. I think we already discussed how we're going to do this. I
Hi, Scott Furcon.
Anthony Rosanna.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of the office of
Chief of Department,
Deputy Chief. Captain. Lieutenant.
according to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
We just need a minute for them to sign.
Thanks.
Tom, can I borrow you in a minute? Scott?
Oh, that's mine.
What would we do without you, firemen? And thank you for taking over the St. Patrick's Day Parade so that that continues. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
At this time, we will continue with the open to the public. At this point in the meeting, the Town Council welcomes comments from any member of the public on any topic. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit the opportunity for anyone who wishes to be heard, speakers are asked to take one turn at the microphone and please limit their comments to 5 minutes. The clerk will keep time. If reading from a prepared statement, please provide a copy and email a copy to the clerk's office after making your comments so it may be properly reflected in the minutes. Council may choose to comment after the entire public portion has concluded. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make any comments?
Yes.
If so, please step to the microphone, state your name and your address. Microphone is right behind you.
Oh. I'm too short for this. Hi, my name is Brenda Izzo. You could probably hear me. My name is Brenda Izzo. I live in Andover Township, but I represent interests of a couple of owners of Spring Street properties. And my concern, and I'm not alone, is the empty spaces in the commercial, units. And I was wondering, and I don't know what or why they don't want to rent spaces. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you would have a space empty, sitting there. It makes no sense to me, but it hurts the neighborhood, it hurts the community.
Can you talk into the microphone?
Okay, really? Okay. It hurts, is this better?
Yes.
It's for the record, so it's...
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. It hurts the community. It hurt, the people that have viable businesses there. Plus, it just looks awful. And plus, with people coming in with Thor Labs and whatnot, there needs to be, stores for people to go to. Now, I was wondering, and I don't know if this is possible, but something has to be done. I was wondering if there could be some kind of an ordinance where, after a certain amount of time, if they don't rent, they get fined. I mean, it sounds, if certain measures like this are not done, this will never get any better, because apparently, given themselves, they're not doing anything. It makes no sense, and it's really not good for the community. Also, because it's a historic area, and it really is a pretty historic area, why are folks allowed to paint buildings lime green? It doesn't look good. I mean, it really throws the balance off of all the lovely brick buildings around it. Can you have some kind of a historic ordinance that prevents such extreme, styles, let's call it? These are the things that I think they're very important. And, you want to work with the town. You want to get people in there. You want to do this, but you don't want to beat your head against a wall if nothing is going to be done by the town to get these folks to move off Top Dead Center. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Ursula, is there any way that we can do an ordinance that would force store owners or property owners to rent their spaces, their retail areas?
Unfortunately, we're limited because it's people's own individual private property. So what they choose to do with their property, we can control zoning, we can control health, safety codes, but the actual occupancy is left to that property owner.
Okay. So technically, we can't do an
So
ordinance.
We have tried what you've suggested, and it's been the focus of numerous discussions at this town council, and that was the answer.
We have an abandoned properties ordinance, but as long as they're renting space up top,
That's the problem.
but that's
They don't care if they
that's a
rent it
state
in Section 8
statute.
or whatever. No, I
Right,
get
that's
that.
state law. That's not municipal.
So
That's
then
state.
nothing will ever improve in this town.
Not unless the state changes the statute. It's a state law.
Along the same lines, it is in the historic district. However, the historic ordinances are also driven by state statute. And unless anything's changed, and certainly council can correct me if I'm wrong, those ordinances regulate on almost everything except for building color, quite frankly. To answer your second question. So it is part of the historic district. We have historic ordinances, we have a historic commission, but like the planning board and as Mr. Russo has indicated, the council also, our hands are tied because we're superseded by state statute and regulations.
So the towns have, let me get this straight, the town has no rights or recourse to put certain ordinances?
So technically it's not an abandoned building, right? If somebody's got 3 floors and they're fully occupied on the second and third and they're not on the first?
Oh, I didn't say it was an abandoned building, I'm not considering that.
No, what I'm saying is as part of the abandoned buildings ordinance.
Two separate issues.
Yeah.
One is the abandoned property, which is the commercial that's not rented. That's governed by state statute. So we don't have any flexibility with that other than to apply the statute. The color is subjective. Some people like the color, some don't. I can tell you for a fact that it's one of the more viable businesses on Spring Street. They live in town and they're expanding.
I have no problem with them.
So I understand that, but although the color might not be your choice,
Hideous.
when it's packed on a Friday night and a Saturday night and a Sunday,
All right, so basically nothing's gonna be done then, you're saying?
not in the color of the building, no.
Well, that's a shame,
Right, but that's,
because I don't know anybody who likes that,
with all
but,
due respect, but that's opinion though. That's your opinion.
yes, it's my.
There are hundreds of people that go to the restaurant on a daily basis and nightly
They hate the
basis.
color too, but they like the restaurant.
Then, thank God we have a restaurant that's
All
filled
right,
and
well, thank God
vibrant.
you have that, look at all the spaces that are empty.
Right, but
And so.
but it's the
let
job
me
of the
ask you this
private,
then. Okay.
but it's the job of the private sector to
Okay,
fill
so
empty
let me
spaces.
ask you this, so you don't think that the town has any responsibility to try to get a more
I think
vibrant
we've been
downtown?
using, with all due respect, we've been working on this for many years.
Okay.
We have an abandoned properties ordinance. We have economic development where we have a tax abatement program for the historic district, which I don't know if you're aware of. We've been
Yeah.
working with property owners like John Questelate, right? You know
Yes, I
Mr.
do know
Questelate.
John.
Okay, Tama from Sparta, I'm sure you know how.
Tama, yeah.
Okay. It takes individuals like that to make an investment in the building. We don't have the capital to buy buildings as a municipality, as you know.
No, I know that.
It takes us working with the private sector when they come in to talk to them about ideas that they have. The Newton Cafe that Javier's putting in. Before he even decided to do that, he came in and spoke to me and my team about, what do you think about, what would it look like? We own the alley next to the building, so we're trying to give them an easement so they can expand the building for outdoor dining, etc. It takes one building at a time. It's not an easy process. It will take a long time. But please don't sit there and think that we're not doing anything, because we're working with John, we're working with Javier. We talk to Thor Labs about the things that they're doing. We talk to the hospital about the things they're doing. We talk to the college about the things they're doing with McGuire's.
Right.
It's an
The
all
theater.
hands-on-deck process to transform vacant buildings one at a time.
Have you spoken to any of the folks that just like the
Yes,
village building?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've sent them letters
Yes,
before.
we've sent letters, we've had meetings, we've had phone calls, emails, and everything. They choose not to rent their building. We cannot force them to rent their commercial space.
So they just won't do it?
So they just won't
And
do
there's nothing you
it.
can
And a
do.
lot of them are absentee landlords. They don't live in town. They don't even live in the county.
Yeah, I know.
They live in Hackettstown. They live elsewhere.
Florida.
We cannot force them to rent their space. We've tried.
I just don't know how it's gonna get any better, that's my point, you know?
It's going to get better one building at a time, with John doing his work, with Javier doing his work. We have an investor from Bernardsville who's buying buildings. We have an investor from other it takes one, I wish I had the, trust me, I've been here 12 years. I've worked on this for 12 years. The council has worked on it for all these years. We've invested tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in streetscape and improvements and parking and signage and lighting. And you still have vacancies on Spring Street. It's not the municipality's fault. It's these property owners that don't give a darn that they have to start investing money into their own buildings. It takes all hands on deck. But we can't force them to put money into their buildings and make the spaces commercially viable. We can't force them to do that. We can't.
Okay, well, and I hope for John and Javier, I hope that their investments aren't completely wasted.
They're not. They've taken
Because-
buildings, with all due respect, they've taken buildings that had $500 a month rent and they're getting $2,000 a month rent now on Spring Street.
I know, okay, but how would you feel if you put that kind of money into a building and you were next to, like Chrissy O's or
Of
whatever.
course. But you overestimate the power of the municipality to affect change in those commercial properties. Any tool that we've had legislatively, we've done. We've done. And it's hard. Welcome to my world. Welcome to our world of what it's like. Because a person like you who's committed and cares about the town says, what can we do about the vacancies? Welcome to our world. This is what we deal with on a daily basis. When we reach out to property owners, could you improve your building? Could you fill the vacant space? Nothing. What's the alternative? We have a tax abatement program. We phase in the taxation if you improve your building. 5 years. It's the state law. We implemented it for the historic district. Very few people have taken us up on it, but at least a few have. That was the economic incentive, right? That's the carrot. The stick is code enforcement. Your property isn't well maintained, right? Your windows are not taken care of, this and that, right? Carrot and stick. We've done both.
Well, maybe a little bit more stick, because a lot of those windows really
Yeah, no, but
look like crap, and they could be.
Agreed, but we do that. We send letters. We follow
They
up.
don't seem to care.
We take
I
them
mean,
to
there's
court.
people putting art in the windows. One of the buildings got wrapped. I mean, there's a private initiative that people have taken rather than, they know that the municipality can't interject or legislate its way out of this problem. We've been down that road. It's just not, it's not an option in our bag of tools. Instead, we've taken a more proactive approach by partnering with, I should say partnering in effect, to trying to make the best out of a development in which somebody can build and somebody can capitalize on in the downtown. They're not looking to us to solve the vacancy issue when somebody that owns a property doesn't want to fill the space. They might make an offer on the property if they want to turn a profit on it or redevelop it to that person, and then they can deal with the vacant space because it's now theirs and not somebody that wants to do nothing with it. So the answer really lies in private industry to fill the vacancies. What we can do is make sure that the property doesn't fall into dilapidation.
Or that we've made it easy to open a business and cut red tape, and so we've done things like combine the planning board and the zoning board so that there's less red tape to buy a property, rehab a property, invest in a business. As all of my colleagues have said, over the last decade, we've done everything that we can from a legislative and enforcement initiative to be able to turn things on Spring Street. And as Mr. Russo said, investing dollars into the marketing events, bringing more events to downtown, doing all the things that we can to support businesses that are there so that, one success begets another success. But we share your frustration when you have a landlord that is making money on all the apartments and is not interested about their first floor property. I mean, we've even changed the zoning on the first floor so that it doesn't have to be exclusively retail, right? That was a change that we made, which is why you have Jay Caldwell that just did $1 million investment into that building and is having all professional services on the first floor. We've made changes to everything that we can to do what we can to fill those vacancies. But when you have landlords that could care less about renting the first floor because it's not important to them, it's not a priority, and because they know that in order for them to get a tenant, they would have to invest money to improve those first floor buildings to attract businesses, they're not interested in that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the building that Mia Rancho Mexican Grill is in was vacant for, 8 or 10 years, the first floor on that, and that we actually sent them a letter multiple times to try and get in contact with them. You actually called the person up,
Of course.
and then finally, what gave? I mean, was it
We had a
private
local-
negotiation between
local
the owner
resident
of
who
the?
negotiated, and Sandy knows the people very well. And they had the restaurant, then they expanded, and now they're expanding again.
Yeah,
for
so
them.
that was, I mean, regardless of the color, which is opinion based, I mean, that space is filled. That space was empty for ever since, as long as I've
So are
been
they
in town.
renters or the owners?
They're
people that
renters.
have the renters. They don't own the building.
No.
Okay. Just curious. It's just a shame, so I mean, I just find it absolutely amazing. I mean, you don't want to have to oppress people you know, and put, you know, put your boot on their neck or anything, but crying out loud, I mean, there are a lot of spaces that really look like, they don't look good.
Make them an offer.
They don't care.
No, make them an offer to buy the building.
Yeah, but they don't care.
Right.
They're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't
That's
care.
They're
exactly.
they're Section 8s.
Right.
And they're making their money and they don't care. That's the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is, they obviously don't care because they're not renting the bottoms. They
Right.
clearly don't care.
Right. We don't disagree.
Okay?
Okay. All right, moving on to council and manager reports. Okay, on January 7th, I attended the public signing of the purchase agreement between the McGuires and Sussex County Community College. We talk about progress here. McGuire property sat vacant for a while, and we now have the college. And there's a great deal of planning between the town, private, and the college to develop that property. On January 8th, I attended the staff meeting and was given updates on all the departments as well as the dates of different events. On January 9th was the firehouse update meeting, and I am pleased to announce that we should be receiving the keys within the next 2 weeks. After that meeting, I met with the firemen to discuss the plans for the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which will take place on March 21st at 11 a.m. And as I said earlier, thank you very much for taking that over. I have no other comments.
I have nothing else at
Ann?
this time.
Helen?
No, I have nothing since the reorg meeting on the 7th.
I'll just have a couple Board of Ed updates. Newton Board of Ed elected Stella Dunn as president, Ed Caffrey for the vice president for the year. They discussed some facility plans, specifically discussions around the condition of the tennis courts. The Tri-District Consortium is open and willing to continue the discussions on exploring their regionalization and consolidation, in addition to the joint shared services and professional development that they are going to be looking at. They renewed the agreement between Lenape Valley and Newton for the swimming and ice hockey programs, and Miriam School is now going to be offering morning care in addition to the aftercare. It's subsidized funding for a reduced rate for anybody who will qualify for that. So just a couple updates from the meeting. It was the same night as ours, but
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to ordinances, we have the introduction of ordinance 2020-1, an ordinance appropriating $450,000 from the capital reserve for grit collector for the replacement of the grit collector system at the wastewater treatment plant in and by the town of Newton in the county of Sussex, New Jersey. Do I have a motion to introduce ordinance 2020-1?
I'll make a motion to introduce 2020-1.
A second?
I have a motion by Councilman Dixon, a second by Councilwoman LaFleur. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. I have a second ordinance 2020 for introduction, an ordinance adopting amendments to the Patterson Avenue redevelopment plan.
All of ordinance 2020-20,
I'll second that
or
motion.
-2, I'm sorry.
Dash 2. I have a motion for ordinance 2020-2 by Councilwoman LaFleur and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. There is no old business, so we'll move on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Town Council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Tom, will you please review the resolutions?
Sure. Resolution 46 authorizes us to go out for a competitive contract for the pool concession. Resolution 42 is the award of insurance broker. That's a renewal for Acrashore through Keith Mitchell. 48 is amending the 2020 water sewer temporary budget. Resolution 49 is support of the census. Resolution 50 is a redemption of a town-held lien. 51 bills and vouchers. And then we have 3 applications for the fire department.
Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'll offer the consent agenda, but would like to recognize junior firefighter applicant Christian Blakely, who's here in the audience tonight with his family, chief and his father. It's a family that's been a long time of service to the Newton Fire Department. His mom, Leslie, was very active in the women's auxiliary. Ladies Auxiliary, and certainly we've just resworn in his father to a position officer within the department. So it's lovely to see a family that's been so invested in the Newton Fire Department continue that legacy with you, Christian, and want to thank you for sticking it out tonight and getting us to this part, but want to wish you much luck and safety as you go through what you'll be going through as a junior firefighter, and then hopefully on to the academy when you reach of age, and long time continued service to the town of Newton is my hope for you. So thank you very much for your application, and I know that you're proud to be following in your father's footsteps as well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll offer the consent agenda for tonight.
Do I have a second? I have a motion by Councilwoman LaFleur and a second by Councilman Dixon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. Tom, we have the appeal from the Utility Advisory Board. Is the person who's doing the appeal here?
All right, so then first we can just give you a brief synopsis, and then you can decide if you want to proceed.
Sure. This is an appeal from Sela Realty Investment. The memorandum was set forth by Jackie Shackleton, and essentially third quarter bills are due August 25th. There's a 30-day grace period. Once you're past that 30-day grace period, there's a 10% penalty, and that's per Town Code 228-19. This property owner owns Landmark West, so there's 10 buildings, I believe, 10 or 11. 10 buildings, 11 buildings, and when they were late, the 10% penalty was imposed, and no reason was given other than mailing address back and forth, but Jackie and the town has confirmed that mailing address was as dictated by the property owner, so therefore it was a day late, the 10% penalty was assessed, and my understanding is the property owner or the manager of the property company is now seeking a waiver of that fee. In the past, the governing body has considered such requests and denied them, particularly in this case when the applicant isn't here to give any justification. Utility Advisory Board already denied the request. That would be my recommendation to the council.
You know, this is clear as day. It doesn't fall into any category in which we would waive any fees or, you know, any reason for not just sticking our course with the rules as stated in the ordinance.
I agree. The ordinance is clear. I don't see any reason to.
Well, and absent any additional testimony or any new
Yeah.
evidence to come in to give us a reason to not support the Utility Advisory Board.
I think we can make an oral motion just to deny the request.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
And I'll second that motion.
I have a motion to deny the request by Councilman Dixon and a second by Deputy Mayor Flynn. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes. Is there any other discussion?
Request on that.
This time we'll open it to the public again. Are there any further comments from the public? Okay, I'll close that portion. Any additional council and manager comments?
Yeah, just a couple items, Mayor.
Just a couple notes that were in the my weekly report. Our new recreation supervisor started today, Cherie Kalani. So she started full-time today. She's still keeping her code enforcement duties, but she's taken on the recreation responsibilities. We hired a recreation coordinator from Andover Township. We love Andover, so thank you, Andover. So Gigi will start March 1st, and we're looking forward to her tenure here. She will be seasonal, so March through October. She'll be part-time. We are out for the pool bid to do the reconstruction of the pool. We expect those bids in a couple weeks. We have at least 6 or 8 vendors who are interested thus far. And the budget hearings for the town will be Saturday, February 8th, 9 a.m. We will do one budget hearing that will be here, Saturday, February 8th, 9 a.m. Thank you.
Tom, that move with Sherry is great. Not only is she enthusiastic about the work that she does, but I know she's been instrumental in planning a lot of the town events, fun events, right, for employee morale.
And flags of honor. She
And
was
flags of
involved.
honor. But not only that, over the last 18 months, whether it was the Easter event or the senior luncheons, she's come out on her own time in support to volunteer her efforts. Certainly, Newton Day and others, like Sherry's always there with a smile. So I think she's going to be a great addition as the rec supervisor. It's great.
Any other further comments? There is no executive session, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved at 7:33.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn at 7:33 by Deputy Mary Flynn and a second by Councilwoman LaFleur. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dixon?
Yes.
Mr. Flynn?
Yes.
Mrs. LaFois?
Yes.
Mayor Diglio?
Yes.